We're marching into spring, and the Trojans are crawling into the NCAA tournament.
Yep, but we not only got basketball for you, we got you covered on baseball, volleyball, tennis, swimming.
Sports Scene starts now. Welcome to the Annenberg Media Center. I'm Caroline Deisley.
And I'm Keely Eure. The USC men's basketball team wraps up the regular season this week at home, facing Oregon State on Wednesday and Oregon on Saturday. The Trojans are in a bit of a slump coming off another rough road trip, dropping 2 games in the Bay this weekend. They now have lost 5 of their last 6 games. Caroline, this is just bad for the Trojans. What has been going wrong for them lately?
It's been really rough. They can't win on the road. They've yet to win a road game. The only game that they won on the road was just at Pauley Pavilion versus UCLA. The issue is they've been starting off really slow, can't get going. They really struggle around the 10-minute mark. So we saw that this weekend. And then the scorers aren't scoring. Julian Jacobs isn't getting there. And I mean, it's really tough to win a game on the road in the Pac-12 this season. Cal's undefeated at home. A lot of teams dominate at home.
And this is definitely a shooting team. And when they can't get shots in, it just goes downhill from there.
Exactly, and we're going to hear from one of our shooters right now. Julian Jacobs talked about how it really is a lack of effort on the road for the Trojans and something they need to fix heading forward.
I think a lot of times after a loss we harp on, the negative. And, our coaches just want to remind us that we're a good team when we, stick together and play our style of basketball. It all comes down to effort. We have to have the effort going into Oregon and Oregon State. So.
The Trojans have little time to turn it around as they face 2 crucial games in their home finale starting on Wednesday. Earlier this season, USC was swept by both Oregon schools as they weren't able to control the paint in each game. Oregon State's Gary Payton Jr. dominated the game for the Beavers, scoring 22 points with 15 rebounds and 8 assists. Julian Jacobs knows that if the Trojans want a different result this time around, they have to contain Payton.
They had 50 points in the paint the first time up at their place. We have to limit Gary Payton Jr. He's a very explosive player. We have to minimize his, looks and shrink the gaps and really emphasize team help defense.
Trojans will certainly have their hands full with Beaver guards Gary Payton and Trey Tinkle, who are both averaging double-digit point totals per game and can also rebound at an effective rate. We know USC has had trouble rebounding the ball, and if Tinkle and Payton can continue their rebounding efforts on Wednesday, it won't bode well for the Trojans. Caroline, I know we've said this a lot, but USC dropped 2 more games. How important are these games going forward?
They're extremely important. The Pac-12 tournament is just 1 week away, and USC finds itself with a lot of stake heading into these final 2 games. If the Trojans can win out, they could end up in 5th place or maybe even 4th, depending on what some of the other teams do. But if USC struggles and drops a game or 2, they could fall all the way down to 7th place, possibly 8th place, and would make their path toward a conference championship that much harder. And outside of the Pac-12 tournament, March Madness is just around the corner. It's March 1st. We're starting all right away. So they really have struggled down the stretch and are not peaking at the right time.
That's for sure. Well, let's take a look at the Pac-12 bracket. If the tournament started today, USC would face Arizona State on Wednesday to start the tournament off.
It's already a tough road ahead. If they lose this weekend, it's going to make the road to a championship that much harder. They lost to Arizona State just a few weeks ago, so it's a tough road ahead for the Trojans.
That's for sure. It's safe to say that this weekend is make it or break for the Trojans. How far will they go in the postseason may depend on how well they finish off the regular season.
The USC women's basketball team finished up the regular season with an 18-11 overall record after falling 63-56 to Arizona on Sunday and barely losing to the number 9 ranked Arizona State Sun Devils this past Friday night at the Galen Center. I'm joined here with Jacqueline. Jacqueline, what happened this weekend and why was Sunday so special?
So not only did Sunday mark the end of the regular season, but also there was a pregame celebration to honor departing seniors Brianna Barrett and Temi Fagbenle. So Caroline, what legacy did these seniors leave with the women of Troy?
Temi Fagbenle was here for just 1 season with eligibility as a grad student transfer from Harvard, and she made an immediate impact. She led the team in scoring and rebounding, averaging 13.6 points per game and 8.8 boards per game. Her performance this season, with her only season with the women of Troy, earned her all Pac-12 recognition, marking the 7th time in the past 7 seasons that USC has had a team on the all Pac-12 player on the All Pac-12 recognition. The other senior is a veteran leader for this Women of Troy team. Brianna Barrett came into this year coming off a rock star junior season. She started all 30 games last year and led the team in steals. And this season, she was leading the Trojans in assists prior to missing the first game of her USC career on January 15th due to eligibility issues. So even though Barrett was unable to compete in USC's final regular season game, her teammate Courtney Jaco actually wore her jersey on senior day to honor her.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and take a look at the impact that we've had since losing Brianna Barrett and Jordan Adams to those eligibility issues on January 15th. It's pretty drastic.
Yeah, no, it really is. If you look at these numbers, there are some crazy differences. So Brianna Barrett and Jordan Adams were suspended due to eligibility issues in early January, like Caroline said. So before the suspension, the women of Troy were 14-2, averaging about 73 points per game, 16 assists, and 40 rebounds. However, look at how these numbers dropped. The Trojans went 4-10 after the suspension, and averaging just 59 points per game, 11 assists, and 32 rebounds. So these disparities in these numbers just show you how important Barrett and Adams were to the team.
That being said, the women of Troy are headed into the Pac-12 tournament as an 8 seed. They face the Washington State Cougars on Thursday night at 6 p.m., and it's going to be a tough matchup for them. They split decisions with Washington State earlier this year, so they won at home and lost up in Washington. But the winner of this game, it's a tough road to the championship because they face the #1 state, Oregon State Beavers. USC lost both games to Oregon State, so it's going to be a tough matchup if they want to make it to the conference championship.
Most definitely, but I think we're ready.
I think so too. The tournament starts on Thursday for the women of Troy up in Seattle when they take on WSU at 6 p.m.
Coming off a championship winning season, which also happened to be their first ever season, the USC beach volleyball team is gearing up for another run at the top. Joining me in studio today is one of USC's top duos in the sand, Sophie Bukovec and Alexa Strange. Thank you guys for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
for having
for sure.
us.
So last year was actually USC's first shot at the title, and you guys actually won the title. What was that like being a part of that team as a whole?
It was a big team effort, I have to say. Our national championship experience, especially for Alexa and I, was very, very crucial. I mean, in our semifinal, or quarterfinal rather, we had never beaten the team that we had played against. And we had lost the first set, second set happened, and we came out and ended up winning in 3. We ended up beating Pepperdine 3-2, so it was just a big team effort the entire season. I think that really contributed to how successful and how good the national championship felt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you two both played together the whole year. What was that like building up the chemistry together throughout the year?
Well, beach volleyball partnerships, I guess the best way to explain it is just like it's like a regular relationship or like marriage kind of. It's all about communication and constantly just talking through your problems and being honest with each other about like what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And I think it's just all about finding a good compromise on what both of you need out of each other and finding something that is sort of a happy medium and making that work for you too.
Mm-hmm. And now that you have that first year under your belt, have you guys been prepping for this season?
Just kind of the same thing. I think we've been improving every day, just kind of finding out new things that like we need from each other. So I think just taking last year and the experiences and the different things that we learned from each other last year and implementing them into this season, we're just getting better every day.
Mm-hmm. And you guys both have international beach experience. You actually played against each other. What was that like?
It was really fun. We must have been, 16,
This was
17
like 3 years ago.
17 years old, yeah. So the first time I met her, she was playing for Canada and I was playing for the USA. So I was like, oh, this really pretty, like, tall girl from Canada. I really don't like her. And then after the tournament, she beat us. But after the tournament, we ended up like meeting and like becoming friends. And she actually reached out to me when she was looking for schools to go to, and that's part of the reason I think she ended up at USC was because she knew me, so she could talk to me about my opinion on the school and like if I thought it would be a good fit for her. And of course I was like, you have to come here.
Yeah, I definitely reached out to Alexa knowing that she would be super honest and wanting me to go somewhere that she felt I would fit in the best. Yeah, that was such a crazy experience. We always kind of look back on those memories that we had in Croatia. We played it against each other in Croatia, and then we saw each other again in Cyprus 2 summers ago. So just constantly seeing each other off the court, like off of the college court, kind of brought our relationship closer almost, just having those international experiences.
Mm-hmm. And playing internationally, does that help you prepare for playing at USC and playing other top schools?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think it's just learning mentally just how to be disciplined, how to be strong, and like stress management, all of that stuff that it takes to be an athlete, like at the next level, playing internationally, really, really helps with that, and it really translates over into your college experience.
Yeah, definitely the focus and just managing all the different stressors and stuff that come with being an athlete. Playing internationally, you have to learn how to maintain, your sleep, your eating. There's different time changes and stuff. So we experience that now collegiately. So just taking those experiences and implementing them into the college game really, really helps us.
Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned before, your beach team is the national championships. Do you guys feel like there's a target on your backs this season now that you've proven yourselves in your first year?
Yes.
Definitely.
Absolutely. We actually went 28-0 last year, which was crazy. Definitely when you're in the process of having an undefeated season, it's not something you're really trying to focus on, is like, I have to get all these wins. But I think just having an amazing season like that, automatically this year, everyone's gunning for you. And I think there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that, because there's way more pressure, you're expected to win. And when you're expected to win, there's a whole nother field of pressure and expectation that comes with that. So I think it's super important this year for us to kind of almost like block out the fact that, yes, we got the national championship and that was amazing, but like, this is a new year, this is a new team, and it's a completely new goal, it's a completely new battle. So
Yeah, and our team is super competitive, that I think kind of having that target on our back is almost going to fuel us a little bit more, taking it more as a challenge versus like seeing it as an expectation. So I think if you knew our team, you would know how competitive we are in everything that we do, no matter what it is. Yeah. So I think that the expectation may actually help us in the long run.
For sure. Okay, let's break it down to a little more fun segment. We're going to play Do You Know Your Teammate? So I'll give this to Sophie first.
Okay.
Okay, so how's this going to work is I'm going to ask a question about your teammate, and then you're going to write the answer, and then you're going to say the answer, and we'll see if they match, okay? So let's start this off. So first question is for Sophie. What is Alexa's pregame ritual?
I'm going to laugh at whatever she's going to say.
No cheating. Okay, ready? Say it and reveal it at the same time. Ready? Go.
Shoot, I looked at it, so now I'm like already influenced biasly by what she wrote.
Don't be biased.
But I would say, just listening to music, no particular like playlist, and just eating a ton of food. I have to eat a lot before a game.
She's constantly eating, even in practice. You see her as we're serving, getting ready to play. She's going over to the fridge, like munching on mangoes or anything that she can get her hands on.
And like I'm guiltily at Sophie, and she's like, what are you doing?
Gotta carb.
Carbs.
For sure.
Okay,
next question. Who is Alexa's sport hero?
Oh,
who is it?
That's a great question. I have no idea, but for some reason.
No cheating. You're not supposed to look.
I know this is wrong, but I don't know why I'm writing it.
Who is
That's
it?
really wrong.
Yes, but that was a great guess, partner, in your defense. My favorite sports hero is actually Tom Brady. So
I wouldn't
There
have
we
guessed
go.
that.
I mean,
I would not have guessed that.
yeah. I mean, given the light of what's happened with the Super Bowl and stuff, like
It's true. You can't go wrong with Tom Brady. Okay, let's switch boards. Now let's see if you know
Enjoy.
Sophie. Okay, ready?
okay.
I'm nervous.
What sport
No cheating.
did Sophie play in high school besides volleyball?
Oh, it's easy.
Okay, ready?
Soccer.
You got it right. You got it right. Okay, next question. What is Sophie's pet peeve?
Ooh. Come on, you know this.
Final question. Let's see if you can get it right.
I think you know this.
Pet peeve about me. I'm gonna do pet peeve about me.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
No cheating.
Okay. Oh my God, are you writing a novel?
Okay, don't show her yet.
Okay.
Say what you think it is.
I'm either gonna say her being late or having to mom her. One of the two.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
Reveal your answer.
It's kind of a combination.
Okay, yeah. There you go.
Okay,
That's both.
That involves the momming and the lating.
Exactly.
Very nice. I guess you guys definitely know each other. Well, thank you guys for joining me in studio today. That's all the time we have. You can catch the women of Troy on Saturday, this Saturday, when they take on Hawaii in their season opener.
We've now wrapped up the NFL Scouting Combine, 4 days for college players to show their skills to try to boost their stocks and make it to the pros. USC has the most players drafted in NFL history, and they were looking to keep that trend going, sending 7 players to the Combine this year. Now, 7 players could potentially go pro is a lot, but it doesn't compare to Ohio State. The Buckeyes doubled that number and sent 14 players to Indy. But back to the Trojans, even though 7 players traveled, not everyone worked out for scouts. Only 3 USC players ran the 40-yard dash. Fullback Soma Vanuku ran a 4.68 time. Now this is slow when comparing him to the running backs, but for a guy who's more of a fullback and a special teams player, this is right where he should be. Quarterback Cody Kessler ran a slow 4.89 official time, ranking him 3rd worst among quarterbacks. And 40-yard dash times aren't super important for quarterbacks, it's more about the skills drills. And the last player to run for USC was Kevon Seymour, who might have improved his draft stock with a real quick 4.39 time, ranking him 6th among all DBs at the Combine. Vanuku and Madden also impressed in the bench press. Vanuku had 26 reps and Madden 24, ranking them 3rd and 5th among running backs respectively. As for draft stocks, it's a little too early to tell. With a lot of the Trojans sitting out in Indy, we'll have to see how they perform during their pro day, when scouts come to campus to see these drills one last time before the draft. USC Pro Day is scheduled for March 23rd. For more on the hot topics from the Combine, let's toss it to John Marcus.
Now that you know how the Trojans fared in the drills, let's find out what people on social media had to say about the Combine. For one Trojan in particular, it was the perfect moment to show off the new do. Everyone was surprised when they saw USC fullback Soma Vanuku's haircut. Wondering what he did to his hair, I'm still in shock. Various members of the Trojan family responded as well, with former Trojan tight end Randall Telfer saying, "That's my dog." And USC Athletics responded, quote, "New look, same beast. We like the cut, Soma Vanuku. Hashtag USC to the NFL." While he was a little too busy doing drills to respond when his hair was trending on Twitter, he told the world what the deal was later that day. Vanuku responded via Twitter saying, quote, "Any questions about my hair can be directed to my barber, Stuart Cravens. I sat down and said I wanted that Goro from Mortal Kombat. Maybe he did it to have an aerodynamic flow. I consider getting the same cut, but my producer said something about professionalism or something. Well, we'll see what his hair has in store for us come pro day. That's all for social media."
USC Baseball is 4-3 at the start of their season and are showing life after a rocky opening series against North Dakota. After such a promising start to last season, I think it's a fair question to ask, should USC fans be worried?
The key is the major difference between this season and last is the offense. The bats have been really slow to warm up, and they're getting absolutely no productivity from the shortstop position. Reggie Southall was the starter last year. He came out starting this season, but Dan Hubbs decided, we need to change it up and put Angelo Armenta up there to see if you could have a little competition at the position, but they're still really lacking in productivity at that position.
It'll be a competition between the two of them, and then, we got to get some offensive production out of that spot. So, right now we felt like Ange was a little bit more of a threat after the first 4 games, and so we played him and we kind of ran with it a little bit since we were getting a ton of guys on base the last couple days, and then we'll see if we stick with it or if we go back to Reggie, and it'll roll right back around to him pretty soon.
Some other changes we're seeing in the lineup are freshman Lars Nootbaar is leading off. That's where Reggie Southall used to lead off last season. And Timmy Robinson was really slow to start off, but he started picking up in the last few games. He actually had a walk-off win. The key problem is the Trojans are leaving a lot of these guys on base. They're getting runners on, and they just aren't having anybody get them home.
Yeah, over their first 7 games, the Trojans have left 47 runners stranded, which is not something you want to do, especially because 5 of their games have been decided by 1 run, and they're only 2-3 in those games. So when you have guys on base, you got to bring them in. And so Dan Hubbs, the head coach, he even knows that this is a problem the Trojans need to work on.
The biggest thing is you gotta be able to come up in a spot and do something, and the more opportunities they get, they got to be able to relax in the moment and then be ready to come through, because that's kind of been our Achilles heel: get guys on base and not score them. And so today was a better day.
And Hubs knows that the Trojans need to fix that because they're heading into a really tough schedule going forward. They're playing a lot of ranked teams.
They face 5 top-ranked teams coming up, including Mississippi State and UCLA at the Dodgertown Classic this weekend, not to mention a key road trip against number 11 TCU. That's going to be a tough one for them.
Yeah, and kind of a rival there too. But the good thing about baseball is that it's early in the season, there's a lot of games, and hopefully their bats will continue to warm up. Heading into the Galen Center, sports team's Lauren Dunn took a look at the Trojan Dance Force.
The Trojan Dance Force is the basketball dance team of USC. The team is made up of 16 talented dancers who perform hip-hop and jazz routines at all home women's and men's basketball games.
I love the whole style of being on a court, and the style of dancing on a basketball court, because it's very different than when you're in a theater and everyone's quiet, and in games, you can feel the audience.
The dancers practice 3 times a week to nail the style, formations, and timing of their dances so that they're perfect when they hit the court.
Definitely you have to have a lot of background in dance because we learn choreography really quickly, we clean it really quickly, we set on the court and change our formations and choreography like every week, like pretty much on a daily basis we're changing things.
With all of this practicing, the girls, both returners and rookies, get very close.
We just have a really good dynamic within the team. Like I get along with everyone so well, and we just all really work hard and we have the same goals, and also we're all just really good friends.
Trojan Dance Force loves supporting our USC basketball teams here at the Galen Center. They're looking forward to performing at the Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas, as well as the possibility of performing in March Madness. Many of these girls also hope to go on to dance on NBA or NFL teams. So all of the training they get on Trojan Dance Force really prepares them for the professional dance world.
So we have 7 girls going to the Pac-12 tournament, and they're all girls that I'm really close with, and I'm just really excited to see how the boys play away because we're so used to seeing them at home, and I just really hope that they do well.
As basketball season comes to a close, Trojan Dance Force is gearing up to perform in Las Vegas. Men's basketball's last home game this Saturday is a bittersweet moment for the Dance Force seniors, who will be taking their last steps out on the Galen Center court. For Annenberg Media, I'm Lauren Dunn.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Ask an Athlete. I'm Jackson Saffon, and I'm here with Gabby Smith of the USC women's tennis team. I'm going to ask Gabby as many questions as I can in 60 seconds, and she's going to try to answer them all. Gabby, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. First, what's your favorite color?
Pink.
What's your favorite food?
Spaghetti and meatballs.
What's your favorite place to travel?
Utah.
What's your favorite movie?
The Hobbit.
What's your favorite TV show?
The Office.
It's a good one. What's your zodiac sign?
Capricorn.
What's your favorite candy?
Rips.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Good call. Dog or cat person?
Dogs.
Way to go. Favorite spot on campus?
I like going to the accounting library.
Favorite song?
Anything from One Direction.
Who's your best friend?
Madison must be.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas, by far.
Favorite season?
Spring, because it's season.
Favorite non-tennis sport?
Soccer.
Favorite Disney movie?
Cinderella, Lion King, I don't know.
Those are all great answers. That's all the time we have. Thank you, Gabby. Make sure to catch Gabby and the rest of the women on Troy on Friday against the University of Washington.
Thanks.
Another week in USC sports, and I have the updates. It's time to light the torch. It was a rough weekend for the men's volleyball team as they fell to number 4 UCLA. Junior outside hitter Lucas Yoder led the team with 17 kills. Senior outside hitter Alex Slott contributed with 8 kills, and senior libero Brooks Varney had 7 digs. With the men of Troy only winning one of the 4 sets, they fell to 3-13 overall and 3-11 in the MPSF conference. They will take on number 15 Cal Baptist on March 3rd. Volleyball wasn't the only team defeated by the Bruins this weekend. USC women's tennis lost to UCLA in their first rivalry match of the season. The women started off strong by clutching the point for the doubles series, but in singles, freshman Rihanna Valdez was the only one to win her match and contribute to the team score. Luckily, the match does not count towards Pac-12 standings. The women of Troy will host its first Pac-12 match this weekend against Washington and Washington State. On a brighter note, USC swim and dive team claimed their first Pac-12 title over the weekend. All 21 swimmers and 6 divers on the team scored individually to contribute to the conference win. Junior Chelsea Chanot won the 500 freestyle, and freshman Elizabeth Stinson won the 1650 freestyle. The team also claimed the 800 freestyle relay. Senior diving Colin Pollard clutched the win on tower and was honored as men's diver of the meet. NCAA championships will be held in 2 weeks at the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center. The track and field team also brought back some hardware from the MPSF conference meet this weekend. The women placed third while the men claimed the conference championship. On the women's side, Margot Jones, Kendall Ellis, and Amali Ewell won their individual events. For the men, Eric Sloan, Ricky Morgan, Robert Ford, and the men's 4x400 relay contributed first place points to the team. Freshman thrower Matthew Katnick is already looking toward the outdoor season.
I mean, everyone's goal is to try to get to nationals. Hopefully we can send most of our people there. In the shot, I think we're going to be strong. UCLA is also strong, so it'll be good to compete against them a couple times this year. In the hammer, we're losing a big superstar, Connor McCullough, but we have some new guys that are going to throw the hammer. It'll be a good year for all the throws.
After this weekend's performances, the men are ranked number 10 in the nation and the women are 14th. Back to you, Keely and Caroline.
For members of the media like us, we just don't get to talk to athletes whenever we want. It's this whole process, and we get to talk to these people at the infamous Sports Information Department. Well, USC football's own Tim Teslone, the head of the SID department, was inducted to the Sports Information Hall of Fame. Caroline, did you even know this Hall of Fame existed?
I didn't, but I know that if it existed, Timmy T would have my vote every single day. I think I'm going to tell you my favorite Tim Teslone story.
Please do.
I think it would have to be just any of his stories that he tells. If you ever get the opportunity to, that man has a wealth of knowledge. You can talk volleyball with him for hours. He plays beach volleyball over at the beach every weekend.
Wow.
But ask him his stories about growing up. He's got some really good ones.
Oh, Timmy T, the Silver Fox.
The Silver Fox.
He can do it all.
That's all we have for you on Sports Scene this week. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter @SportsSceneUSC, and check us out on uscannonburgmedia.com.
We'll see you next week.